Hey, this is Josh. And if you're figuring out life in your 20s like the rest of us, tara, let's navigate our 20s together. There was a time when 30 minutes felt like a very long journey, especially when you grew up in a small town. Back then, leaving Tayug, even just for a while, felt like an adventure. And one of the first times I remember going somewhere on my own was a trip to Urdaneta City. Today, that distance feels small, parang ang lapit lang. But at that time, for me, it felt far enough to feel like freedom. I don't even remember exactly what I told my parents that day. Maybe I said I was meeting someone, maybe I said I had something to do, but to be honest, I don't remember the exact reason I gave. But the real reason, I was going there to meet someone special. And honestly, even now, I'm not completely sure what we called it. But in my head, it felt important. So there I was, standing at a terminal, waiting for a van bound for Urdaneta. If you grew up in a province in the Philippines, you probably know the feeling. Those white vans lined up, drivers calling out destinations, people squeezing into seats that were definitely designed for fewer passengers, and somehow it all still worked. I got in, found a seat, and then the van started moving. And there's me, slowly leaving Tayug behind. At first, the view outside the window was familiar. The same streets, the same small stores, the same places I'd been seeing for years. But little by little, the scenery started changing. Fields stretching out beside the road, trees passing by, small houses becoming fewer and farther apart. And somewhere during that ride, something strange happened. For the first time, I felt independent. Not in a dramatic way. Nothing big was happening. I was just sitting inside a van. But somehow, that moment felt different because I was going somewhere on my own. No competition, no teacher supervising, no family trip, just me on a random afternoon. And looking back now, it sounds funny. I had already traveled to other places before, sometimes for school competition, sometimes with my family, but this one felt different because this time I chose to go. And maybe that's why it stayed in my memory. Because sometimes independence doesn't arrive through big life decisions. Sometimes it arrives quietly in small moments, like sitting inside a slightly crowded van on the way to meet someone you probably liked a little more than you admitted, watching the fields pass by outside the window, and realizing that the world was starting to open up. Of course, now I know that Urdaneta City isn't that far from Tayug. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe even less depending on traffic. But back then, that distance felt bigger. Because it wasn't just about geography, it was about possibility. It was about realizing that I could leave my town, even just for a while, and come back with a slightly different version of myself. A little more curious, a little more independent, and maybe just a little more grown up.